Hello, my trusters. My name is Glenn Chan, and it's time to have some fun with Wrestlecast Episode 7. Now, today, I am joined by a very, very, very special guest. He's former MC for PWAs and MC for LEP. In fact, he MCs everywhere. But not only this, this man is also the boss and owner of Cornish professional wrestling. He is Terry Speller.
Hi. So anticlimactic. Hi. Can I just say co-owner, not full owner? The wife also co-owns it. If I don't do that, she might try and get someone to slap me again in the ring.
I know what you're on about. I was like, I'm going to let you say that so that you can make sure you get that point in there. Getting good.
Yes, yeah. I might have damaged her camera, and to get her revenge, she got one of the guys to slap me in the ring, but they didn't hold back, and it gave me a headache for the rest of the night. So yeah, I'm not going to get on her bad side again.
No, and see that's the thing. You never know just quite how or what form that revenge will take.
No. It happens most shows, really. I mean, the first show we ever did, she got El Diablo Loco to basically punch me in the nuts. That hurt. just because she sort of builds it up like frequent flyer miles. Anything I do wrong, it builds up, and she just gets her own back at the shows.
Oh dear, I'm quite lucky. I don't have anybody that I majorly piss off that wants to get that kind of revenge. So I'm quite lucky.
That's right.
But you never know.
No.
That's all in the future. Anyway, today we do have a great show for you. Because thankfully the fan questions came in thick and they came in fast. So we don't we don't have too many of my own today. I've got a few top-ups in case we fall short on time.
All right.
And on that note, I have received word that calls for the show to be a bit shorter if I can get that to happen, because apparently it's a long old slog. So yeah, well, in fairness, they have been up to 1.5 and 2 hours, so I can see their point.
Fair enough. Well, I'll keep my answer short and sweet then.
Well, I've tailored it so that the plugging is kept a little bit less. But yes, so we have fan questions. We have a couple of my own, and we also have plugging. We will be plugging because that's kind of what I do best.
That's fine. Plugging is good. Always cheap pops and plugs. Always good.
Oh, I love them. So, fan questions. Because I love these fan questions. I love them. By the way, every time, keep sending them in. They're awesome. I love them every single time. Because a lot of guys have asked like multiple questions. So we'll start with George Bennett. First come, first serve. Oh, Georgie boy, long-time viewer of the show, supporter. He wants to know, first of all, it's a two-parter. How do you handle a meteoric talent like Jason King and then language issues with guys like Maximo Jr. and El Diablo Loco?
With Jason King, you just let him go and hope for the best. And is this got to be real, or is this got to be kayfabe, or can this be real?
Well, I think this is we know Maximo and El Diablo don't speak a huge amount of English, but Maximo's trying to learn apparently.
Yeah, I mean Maximo's good. He usually, when I speak to him on the phone, he usually has an interpreter with him. The interpreter doesn't speak too much English, but it's usually, I think his interpreter spent too much time listening to films like Legend and The Craze, so you kind of have to revert to like Cockney Gangster, and it's usually just an expletive-laden conversation with his interpreter, but his interpreter knows what I'm talking about, relays it to him, and usually I get a yes or no. That's about it with him. As for Jason King, just let him get on with it, and if he gets out of line, you just have to sort of knock him down a peg.
Well, there you go. I mean, Jason King, Jason King, he strikes me as quite a demanding talent to deal with as a promoter. In fairness.
He's very outspoken as well.
Well, he doesn't like to mince his words. That's got to be said. Also, George has another question for you. Now, this one, I think I know the answer to. Anyway, he wants to know that if your mystery partner is actually Lord Voldemort.
The secret silent benefactor, unfortunately, has to stay secret and silent, I'm afraid. But it's basically, it's a guy basically. He came along and he helped us, got us out of a bit of a pickle, and yeah, it's always good to have someone else outside of the immediate bubble who you can go to and say, look, do you reckon this idea is going to work? This is what I've got in mind. This is what I've got planned. Do you think this is going to go the way it should do? It's always good to speak to someone like this person who's a fan as well. That means I can gauge how an angle or a story is going to go by their reaction. If they sit there and go, okay, then chances are you're going to have to explain it a lot more. It's going to have to be more long-winded, so it needs to be tweaked and changed. If you say a storyline or angle or where you want to go with something and they go, that's brilliant, that's great, then I know, right, that's a winner. I'll keep going with that. That's where we've got to go from now. So it's always good to have people outside of the immediate bubble who you can bounce ideas off of. And that's who the kind of silent benefactor is to me, but I'm not going to say the name, I'm afraid.
So he who shall not be named, but he does provide that really reflective, like almost like a creative crutch in a way. It sounds like.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it's a good way of having someone who doesn't know the immediate works of what's going on in my head, and doesn't really sit there and put input in as such, and he's quite happy to sit there and go, well, that's a good idea, or are you sure that's going to work? And it's good to have that person who's not going to sit there and massage your ego and go, oh yeah, go and do that. So yeah,
I can imagine that's really helpful because you probably get a lot of yes men to go yes. That's probably a problem that WWE has at the moment.
Yeah, and also you get a lot of people who, if you say, look, I've got an idea, this is my idea, and you have to be, it's a bit hard in this business because you do get a lot of people who are like, well, why don't you bring in such and such for the show, and why don't you bring this person over? And it's very much, you only want to do that because you want to see them or you want to face them. Whereas I look at it more now as, what do I think would be beneficial to a story? What do I need to be beneficial for? What do I think the crowd will buy into without it just being a one-off wonder? And speaking to someone like this guy is a good way of judging that and getting their input. And if I feel like I'm having a wobble, it's good to just to go to this person and they sort of go, well, no, you seem to be doing right way, or have you thought about this and have you done this? So yeah.
That's good. That's really good. Now, Dennis Dunphy is our next question. Is our next interviewee, I guess, interviewer, and he asked, "Who influenced you to be a promoter?"
Who influenced me to be a promoter? I saw this. Basically, I worked for PWA originally, and I saw everything John Harding did, and realised I can do it a lot better than that. And no, all joking aside, John Harding, really, he was the promoter of PWA, and he was the person to open the door for me to become an MC. Your fingers going up?
Yes, I'm pointing to.
Oh, the picture. Yeah, I saw you. So yes, you can. Yes, you can speak. No. Yeah, I was him. John Harding. Really, he like I said, he opened the door. He let me be part of the business. I managed to become friends with him as well, and he's essentially part of the family because he's a godparent to my daughter. Yes, sorry, because his brother's also a godparent to my son. So yeah, it's kind of kept in the family a bit. But yeah, he's always been a good person to sort of see that side of the business. Granted, yeah, things didn't go too well for him at one point, and things have gone a bit skewy. But he's getting everything back on track now, and and he's doing really well for himself. But yeah, he's the one who kind of set me the idea that, well, maybe I can do this. And I learnt a lot from what he did and a lot of the backstage stuff from him. And other than that, a lot of it is stuff like I've just watched, and I'm a huge, huge fan of old school NWA and WCW, and I watch countless videos of that, and I read so much stuff on either Wikipedia, online, in books, everything about how things used to be run. And I sort of took all this on board and was like, sod it, I'm just going to just give it a punt and see if I can do it. And thankfully, by hook or by crook or for miracle beyond miracle, it's kind of paid off and worked, and I seem to be doing a fairly okay job at being a promoter and running a business. Luckily, I've got my wife who helps out and does all the graphic design and is the business sense side of things, whereas I'm the story and the creative side. And yeah, if it wasn't for her and people like John who taught me what I should be doing story-wise, I don't think I would have done half as well as I've done.
Because that's the thing. Like, I think I've been actually at most of CPW's events, and I've got to say, yeah, it's good. I didn't even realize. It was only. I think the last show was the third one, wasn't it?
Yeah, last one was third. May 14th is the fourth. So yeah, we're new. That's the thing that we didn't want to. You see there was a lot of promotions in the country, and they can do shows every single week. And this is Cornwall, and people in Cornwall don't have unlimited supplies of money, and people in Cornwall do have a lot of time, or do have a lot of things going on in their lives. Majority of them. So I didn't want to do something that was going to just be really big and then just fizzle to a pop. And I thought if I did shows constantly, one, it would be hard to keep up the quality and keep the money going, and second of all, it would be people might just get bored of it really quickly. So the idea came up that we would do shows every couple of months. We would give us plenty of time to build. We can work out storylines. Plus, also, it gives people enough time to save. And if there's everything else coming up, they can go to that and come to us as well. Otherwise, if there's just wrestling on all the time down here, people will just get bored of it really, really quickly. And that's why I don't want people to do that. I want people to almost to the point of a CPW show is an event. It is a night out. It's a chance for families to get together, come to one of our shows, go there smiling, come away from it really buzzing and excited and with a smile on their face going, that was really fun, I can't wait to see that again. And then we give them a breathing period of time where they can remember all the good points. If we had any bad points, which luckily at the moment, knock on wood, we've never had anyone say anything negative yet. But if there was any bad points that creeped up and people said to us, it gives us at least a month or so to iron those out, work them out, and for the general public to forget about any nagging issues. So when it comes around again, they can only think of the positives. And that's the idea anyway.
Well, that basically answered Dennis's second question, which was what were your plans for Cornwall? He also had a part two, though, is will CPW be touring over the summer holidays when you get a lot of people around down here?
Unsure yet. And that's mainly because we've got... I'm a father of 4 children. And on top of that, my wife has a photography business. And we've got a big show coming up in July, which will be the anniversary. Whether that will probably be around the start, or I think of the summer holidays. We want to have another show relatively soon afterwards, but not too soon, because obviously we don't want to just fill up, make it boring for people. As for touring, the anniversary show, we're hoping to go somewhere else. After that, in an ideal world, I'd love to do a show in Bude. I would love to do a show in... I don't want to do a show in Truro, as much as I love Truro and the fact that I've got family in Truro. Truro seems to be a bit of a black hole when it comes to wrestling, even though it seems to be the what's the word, the
Kind of
capital.
capital of Cornwall, wasn't it? Yeah.
It does seem to be a case of, even though you can plug a show to high heaven there, it is 50-50 whether or not it's going to do well. I think it's mainly because there's so much other stuff to do in Truro. There's clubs, there's cinemas, there's restaurants, all of this. Whereas you go somewhere like, for want of a better word, St Austell, Bude,
Weybridge.
Weybridge, there isn't really much in the way of things to do in the evening for children, especially. Whereas, so that gives us an opportunity to put on a show, and you're going to probably get quite a good crowd, because, for want of a better word, there isn't much else. If you book it at the right time, there isn't, and you're not going along the same time as other things going on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So, as for touring, we'll see. We're hoping to be somewhere different for our anniversary, and then, like I say, in an ideal world, I'd love to do something in Bude, but we're never going outside of Cornwall. I want to do that. There's been talk with other promotions of maybe doing a big joint thing in future, which might take place outside of Cornwall, maybe in central, like Exeter or Plymouth or somewhere. But this is all hypothetical and all a possibility in the future, but that's way off in the future.
Oh, that sounds cool, actually. So, thank you, Dennis, and thank you, George, for your questions. Now, Richard Eddy, who is a CPW trainee, actually, his question is actually about training, and it's, does CPW have any plans to purchase their own ring and try and secure a permanent training facility, provided the success of CPW continues on into the future?
I think if I'd be stupid if I'd be silly and stupid if I said no. I think every promoter who gets into the business would like to be able to sit there and go, I have my own ring, have their own facility. In an ideal world, I would love to do what LEP have done, and they have their own permanent ring set up in a facility where they can hold small shows for their students. In an ideal world, it'd be great to be able to find a place that's big enough to hold a ring and have enough room that you could probably put chairs around. In which case, if I could do that, then I probably wouldn't be a touring company. I would sit there and go, right, no, I'm going to do shows there for the rest of my life. Because you've got your rent paid, you've got your facility, your setup all ready there all the time. You could then do videos, audio, the lot. Would I like to buy my own ring? I would love to have my own ring, but unfortunately it's about $4,500 for a ring. For facility, I mean, in an ideal world, and hopefully in the future, we will have our own ring, as long as we can, as long as the shows keep working out okay, we can put money aside and hopefully get a ring. And as for a permanent facility, as long as we can keep a good working relationship with Penn Rice, I'm more than happy to keep going there. It's central to everyone and it's warm. Yeah. So yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah, it does have some very, very good. It does have some very good facilities for the show. I mean, at the last show, you have your whole lighting rig there. You can turn out all the lights for the guys who want that. You can have it's all naturally set up, and then you've got your big gymnasium with ample space. Yeah, that's cool. Now, so thank you, Richie, for your question. I hope that answered it for you. Now, I'm going to have to read this a little bit because this one comes from a man whose name was mentioned earlier, Jason King, who is a regular viewer of the show. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, among your viewing number, there is royalty. It's Jason King, and he's asked me to try and read this and try and get the tone of this. Do you, Terry Speller, think it is acceptable to give anyone other than Jason King the next shot at the CPW Heavyweight Trophy? This is going to be a bit of that handling that meteoric talent, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes. Because he got involved in Bainsley losing the title, I believe he threw powder into his eyes. Jason's going to have to earn it. Um, he's he's got. I've got a plan for him, but and it will all come. Everyone will get to know about it very soon. Um, but yeah, he's going to get a shot at that title again, but it's not going to be easy. I'm going to make sure it's not going to be easy. He's going to have to. Yeah, it's not going to be easy, and he's going to have to face maybe more than one person.
Oh dear! You see, I don't think he's all that happy that that Dom beat him to beating Bainsley. But then again, he did get involved in that. So
Yeah, he helped. If he didn't want to help, why did he get? If he didn't want Dom to win, why did he get involved?
either that or he just did. You never know. Sometimes Jason King does things, and I just sort of go. A mad genius in action. I think there's probably
he seems to have a major chip on his shoulder for Johnny Cowling, who's the drive time DJ for Pirate FM. Where that's come from, who knows?
Yeah, I've seen that lately, and well, Johnny Cowling actually responded, didn't he? Because he put up something that says he's going to have to eat lining crap thunder. So Jason King might well be in trouble.
Yes, I think Johnny's starting to take exception to it, but we'll see how this escalates.
Well, the other thing, he did write a PS to close. He says, "I don't like you, I don't like Johnny Cowling, and I do not like Cornwall."
Fair enough. See, outspoken.
Yeah, he doesn't mince his words.
No, he doesn't like Cornwall, but he wants the trophy.
Yeah. Well, maybe that's just because he. I don't know. I think when it comes to Jason, it's like, we'll see what we can do for you, sir.
Yeah, just nod politely and okay, we'll see.
Okay, Jason, you want to call out Johnny? Okay, go right ahead, do your thing.
I must admit, just quickly though, on completely on record, even though he's outspoken and he can be a pain in the arse, Jason King is probably one of the definite people to keep an eye on in future. There's something about him that you have to watch, and he's not a high flyer. There's something very old school about him, and like I said earlier, I watch a lot of NWA and the old school WCW, and you could easily take Jason King and put him into like 80s WCW or NWA, and he would fit really well because of his style and even his look. A lot of his look is perfect for that era, and yeah, even though he's a pain, I'm very happy to be able to say he's part of the roster.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like if you wanna put the all jokes aside and actually shoot on Jason, is he's very tuned in. He can engage a crowd like no other. I've seen quite a fair bit of his work now, and yeah, it's like you say, it's quite old school. You don't doesn't do a million and one flashy 450 splashes, but you can't help but walk away and think to yourself, I love that match.
Yeah, that was good. I think if you're not to make it sound bad for anyone who does a 450 and all the high flying and the spots and all this, but there is something very clever about being able to it shows you're good at what you do if you can engage with a crowd and you haven't had to do much. Ric Flair, to a degree. He wasn't flashy. He was flashy, but he didn't do all the moves and all the big moonsaults and things. If you watch his matches, they are very simple in what he does. He keeps what he does to a minimum, but he still manages to make it look like he's come away and he's busted his butt off doing stuff. And that's what Jason King's kind of getting to that point. He doesn't have to do a million and one things, but you come away thinking that he has.
Yeah. And another guy who, if you want another school in that kind of line of thought as well, UK Dominator.
Oh God, yeah. He's old school, but yeah, tough as they come. I saw him in a match a few years ago at DCW in Crediton, and I don't know what happened, but something went a bit iffy that winded him. I don't know if it was something that I don't know what caused it, but he got winded in the match. And I was sitting at ringside, and we kind of was me and Simon Harding, John's brother, were looking at each other, going, right, something's gone wrong here, and we don't know what it is, but there's something definitely wrong with Dom. But he carried the match. He carried on with the match, and he busted his ass off. And he came away, and he said afterwards he was fine. He just got winded, but he was such a professional that, if anything, in the match, even though he was quote unquote injured, or at least we thought he was, if anything, he came across as more of a nasty bad guy, and his work intensified. It was almost like he took it to another level that I wasn't expecting, because he was winded and he needed to make everyone not think about that. It was weird how he did it, but yeah, I'm so much respect for Dom, UK Dominator. A badass heel, but yeah, the guy's a genius.
Oh yeah, I've watched him. I've watched him work, and it's something that you want to pay very close attention to, because he's outstanding at what he does. And it's also Star Pinfall, the trainer of Adam Pacitti in that documentary.
Yes, and also if you can pick his brains, or if he lets you pick his brains, do it and soak it up like a sponge. Because the guy is just he's one of those guys that you respect. You show him respect, and he'll be the nicest guy in the world to you. You don't show him respect, and he will just chew you up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, in fairness though, you got to respect everybody in this business. It's a business about respect, and that's what a lot of people, when you're coming into wrestling, you have to understand is respect is huge in this business, and it's
always anyone, if you're coming into it, anyone who's been here before you, respect them. You don't you soak up whatever knowledge and any information they give you like a sponge. You'll get people say to you, oh, don't listen to him, or don't listen to that person, listen to him, whatever. But the best advice I can give to anyone coming into it is listen to everyone. Take all the bits of information, use what you want to use, but always be respectful. Always say yes, thank you. Always ask if you've just had a match or you're learning something, and you always ask, how did I do? How can I do better? And listen, and let them if they any wrestler, as long as you get them at a good time, any guy worth their weight will tell you that, right, yeah, I saw this, yes, I think you should do this, no, you're okay, whatever. They will give you the time of day. The ones who don't give you the time of day, they're the ones that you kind of need to back off and go, right, fair enough. They've got their own way of doing things. I know there's lots of people who won't do anything with trainees, but they've been, because they've gone through all that. They've reached that stage of their career where they don't need to. So you have to sort of sit there and respect the older ones. If they don't want to get in the ring with you and they don't want to talk to you, then fair enough, that's their prerogative. But as long as you show them respect, everyone will eventually come around and show you respect too.
Amen to that, actually. And we actually got off on a bit of a tangent there, but I'd like to thank everybody for sending in your questions for Terry, because that has carried us through quite a nice length there, actually, which I thought it would do, because I saw the questions that were coming in. I was like, yes. So thank you to Rich, thank you to George, thank you to Dennis, and also thank you to Jason King. I know you kind of hated on us a little bit there at the end, but thank you anyway. it's a great pleasure. And by the way, anybody who ever wants to send questions in for any guest at any time in the future, you can do that on my posts. Whenever I post who the guest is going to be, you can send emails through to glennchum14@gmail.com, and you can also send them via Twitter at Glenn_Chum, and you will have your questions put forward to any guest I have, like we've had today with Terry. But there is one I want, one of my own, because I was like, well, I'll supplement it in case we needed to. We don't, but this is quite a nice question. It's like, what is your favourite part about being a promoter?
My favourite part? I think what it is when I was growing up, I've always wanted to. I loved films like everyone, but I always have so many ideas for films and TV shows and things going on in my head. And when I was growing up, I just had a very overactive imagination. I would want to write down stories, and I would write stories down and scripts and things like this, but I'm extremely bad at writing dialogue. I can set up scenes, but when it comes to writing dialogue, it always just sounded like the ball is round, the ball bounces, the ball jump. It's very very robotic, and I hated it, and I was never any good. And being a wrestling promoter, it's given me that chance to let my creative brain do what's going on in my head onto a piece of paper, or to tell someone about it, and then for that person to run with it and make something their own, come out of their own words, come out of their own bits and pieces throughout the story. But at the same time, I can sit back and go, that was in my head. That was going on up here before it was on in the ring. So it's the best. It's like being a film director and being a storyteller, but letting other people bring the words and put the words in. So I don't have to worry about dialogue and things, because it's them. I'm giving them the creativity to go out. These are the points I would like you to make, but run with it. Say what you want to say, as long as it's in the context of the story. And that's what I love. I love being able to create things. And the best buzz I've ever had is when something I saw in my head has taken place in that ring, and not only have the people in the ring achieved exactly what I've had in my head, which PJ does almost all the time.
Okay.
Winner! Not only that, but the thing that gets me the most and humbles me is when the crowd get it as well. If I've managed to do anything, and even if it all just ends tomorrow, the fact that I've managed to make, for 3 shows, the however many hundreds of people who have shown up so far for all of them, they've come away happy. And that's the most humbling thing and the most important thing I've ever managed to achieve, other than my kids, is I've made what went on in my head has made other people happy. And if I can carry on doing that, there's nothing. I don't ever want to stop. I just want to make people happy. If I can make someone come away from it and go, I'd bring my child to see wrestling, but I'm going to come back myself because I enjoyed it. I've had that 3 times now, 3 different shows, and 3 times I've had an email from someone completely different, each time saying, brought my kids to the show, they loved it, they've lost their voice. And I must admit, I enjoyed it too, and I would like to buy tickets for them so I can come and see it next time. And the fact that we've made fans from people who weren't, that's the most amazing feeling in the world.
That's why I do it. Somebody, yeah.
Doesn't matter. I'm not in it to make money. Obviously, I want to be able to support my kids and things. But at the end of the day, the only reason I'm in it is because, one, I love wrestling. Two, if I can give the trainees a chance in the future, and from that chance they go off and achieve something, that's amazing. And if I can make people come away from it and go, I really had fun, then that's all I need. That is all I need. I'm not saying it to try and make friends and things like this. I genuinely mean it from the bottom of my heart. If I can make people come away from it and go, I had fun, I want to come back, then yeah. And if I can make one trainee come away from it and go on to be like the next El Ligero, doesn't have to be WWE or NXT on something like this. If we can make one trainee from the CPW boot camps be able to go to get booked at a different promotion every weekend, that their main job that they had to start with now becomes, that's just to pay the rent. All my other money comes from wrestling. If I can do that, and we can get one person to do that, then yeah, I've achieved and I can die happy, man.
Oh, that is awesome. That really is. Because we are gonna get into the rounds of Plug City. We're going to Plug City. Oh yeah, we are. Because that is just the ultimate way to. Because you can tell, like, that's to have people. Because in a very similar way, that's why I do my podcast.
Yeah.
It's because it's a different form, but it's of entertainment, but it's still very much the same thing. I would love for people to just sit down or not sit down, or just have it on for the 40 or so minutes or however long it is, and just be entertained by it. And it is people are starting to tune in more and more, and it's really humbling as well, isn't it? I think.
Oh, definitely. That's like when we did the first ever show we did, CPW show. Originally, when we started out, all I had in mind is I thought a little town, little village. I mean, you're in Weybridge yourself, aren't you?
I live a mile away from the first show where it happened.
We were looking at Eglishell Village Hall, I think it was, and it was just like a small little church hall. I think there was about 50 people maximum, and that was originally what I thought in my head. Just want a small hall. Just get a few of the guys who I really like, who I want to see wrestle, and just put on one little show. If it does well, great, we'll maybe do another one. But just so I can sit there and go, I did that. Then the wife came up with the idea of, why don't you try and see if you can get a big star down? And that's why we got Doug Williams in the end. And we then became a thing of, well, we can't redo it in a little village hall. We need to go to somewhere bigger. And once we'd done it all, and I was out back with the curtains drawn, waiting to go out on stage to announce, and people were coming back going, we need more chairs. And that shocked me straight away. I was like, well, hang on, we've got a pre-sale of this amount. We put that amount of chairs out plus about 10 more, because I thought, it's Weybridge, you're not going to get many more people queuing. And it got to the point of, no, we've run out of room. We're going to have to start turning people away now, because we've reached the maximum capacity that fire safety will allow us to have to cover the exits. And I was like, nah, you're lying. Nah. And then the music hit, and I came out through the curtain, and it was literally getting hit by a wall of people and a wall of sound. And that was an experience I don't think I'm ever gonna. I've emceed in front of about 600 people before, and that was half the size of the crowd. But the CPW show was half that size. But because of the amount of people, the people who were there for some bizarre reason, because it was Cornwall's first, their own promotion and their first one, the sound and just the energy in that room was just immense. And yeah, that was one of those moments when you go, yeah, I think we've done something well here. So yeah, that does humble you a lot when you realise, hang on, something you just thought. I envisioned about 50 people, and never did I think that I was going to get almost 300 people. That was very humbling.
Yeah, I can bet. I mean, I was part of the second show in Weybridge, and yeah, audience was electric. And I mean, I want to put this into perspective. Is I've been to quite a fair few shows now in my time, like WWE. But one I went to not that long ago was Five Star Wrestling, their tour up in Liverpool. They had, get this, they had John Morrison, they had PJ Black, they had Colito, they had Colt Cabana, Rey Mysterio was on the card, Magnus, Nick Aldis for Global Force. And this was a show that was main evented by Jay Lethal versus AJ Styles. And honestly, yeah, right? You'd think so, right? However, the thing is, it might not have been helped by the fact that they went to the Echo Arena and probably overestimated how much they would sell, but bear in mind they're a brand new company, put on less shows than CPW until that point. And it just wasn't there. It was just, you went to it and it wasn't there. You could try and get a crowd chant going, but it dies out because nobody was following on. Go to a CPW show and it's like, and the energy.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing I hate. It bugs me. I mean, some WWE shows are like it as well. The worst thing in the world is you can have as much star power as you can afford, but when the crowd is sitting on their hands, it doesn't matter. And you start to watch some of these pay-per-views and things, WWE, and the shows when the crowd aren't even chanting or there's silence, it doesn't matter who's in the ring. It's gonna be just all the energy and the life gets sucked away from it.
Yeah,
and it doesn't matter. You can be any promotion in the country if you can have whatever stars, you can throw money at your company, but if the crowd aren't into it and they don't have that energy, yeah, I mean it's cliched, but it is the crowd. If you don't have the crowd and the crowd don't have that energy and ain't feeling it, you might as well just give up. It's the crowd that makes the show, not the guys in the ring. The guys in the ring help, but it's the energy that the crowd have. If the crowd going in there smiles and they're happy and they're hyped and excited, which luckily every crowd we've had so far have gone into it and they've kind of almost expected it to be buzzing. And all out free shows so far, they've gone in there and they've loved it. And they've been buzzing throughout the entire show. They've constantly been loud and they've left happy. If that dies out, then you know you've got to rethink everything. You need that energy.
Yeah. Right, so I think we should probably ought to get on with plugs. Now, one thing that CPW has been known for, and it's one of the things because I hold my hands up to you, and you gave me my sort of first taste of the business. You let me and myself and Marcus come help set up the ring because we couldn't make it to the boot camp owing to our work. And you're like, Rich put in a good word for us, and you were like, well, okay, tell them to come along. And we came along, we helped. And through you, LEP sort of came to us. Now, LEP has asked, and you've always been good enough to book LEP guys, and LEP have asked for there's changes happening at LEP. It's not quite what has been going on so far. So I do want to let everybody know about the updated times because I think you can. I think Terry will back me up here. That LEP, the talent that it produces. You said yourself you want to have an LEP like thing going on.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, we'll
yeah, LEP suck. No, I'm joking. I'd like to clear up one thing, by the way. At the last show, some of you guys were wearing LEP t-shirts, and I think someone thought I was being serious when I actually turned around and went, "Well, hang on, you can't do anything for us. You're wearing an LEP t-shirt." I literally was joking, but it was because Richard Jago it didn't bother me. I think what annoyed was the fact that Richard Jago was wearing an LEP t-shirt over the top of a CPW t-shirt. And it's like, no, that's just bad form.
Yeah. Cheeky,
But no,
this is a CPW show.
yeah, it's a CPW show, and you're wearing an LEP shirt over the top of a CPW. But no, to be honest, it doesn't bother me at all. LEP are great. I love LEP. What they're doing down there with the training is brilliant, and they're very much helping guys come up and find their own voice, and that's what I really like. And some of the talent they've got and their training. I mean, Danny Walsh is an amazing trainer, pardon me, and so's Mark. And like we're using Jamie Pearn, he's 15, and we use him on. We're going to keep using him for as long as he wants to be used, really, because even though at 15, he gets it. And I think it's a lot of it is down to the fact that LEP are such good trainers that they encourage it. They don't stifle it. They don't stop him from being who he wants to be, and they don't hold him back and say, well, you're only 15, you can't really do such and such. And yeah, the stuff Jamie Pearn can do is out of this world. I mean, at the last show, he took an RKO, not the last show, the show previous. He jumped off the top rope and he took an RKO, and it was like, how? At 15, you took an RKO from the top rope. And
I jumped out of my seat. I was like, yeah.
A lot of people did, and it was just like, the kid's just got it. He's got it in spades, and he's only 15, and it's like, in a way, I hate him because it's like, I wish I had that much talent, you know? He's got it. He's just got it by the bucket load, and if he's like that now, that dude is going to be scary as shit when he's like 20.
Oh,
you know, he's going to be heavyweight champion of the world by 20, you know? And there's other people down there as well. I mean, like TNT, Maximo and Union. Again, they've got it. They've got the charisma there. Yeah, and there's so many of them. Like even AJ Air, another youngster. He's only about 13, and it's kind of, again, he's one of these kids who are like, he gets it. It's amazing. These kids get it. And I wish so much when I was growing up country that there was places like LEP that I knew about, that I could go to, because my life probably would have been a hell of a lot different than it is now. But yeah, it's just the people they've got there and the work they're doing is really good, and I really hope that LEP go from strength to strength, and they get to I know they're trying to do touring now and go around Devon and Torquay. I think they've got one in Exeter, I think, the show coming up. And if they can carry on touring and stuff like that, more power to them, as long as they don't come to Cornwall. Because I'd be like, oh, crap, not another one. But I'm going to keep working with LEP until they tell me I can't, really. I class Danny as a good friend. Mark's always been really respectful, and, in real life, both of them are really, really nice guys. And LEP, I really do like and have a lot of respect for. And the fact that I was able to announce their very first ever show, which was in Brixham, I think it was. I think they had Sabu as their star attraction. So that was an experience, emceeing Sabu in the ring. But no, LEP, I think are great, and I will highly recommend anyone who, if anyone comes to us and does training with us, I always say to them, look, it's always, keep coming to us because I want your money. But other than that, keep coming to us because, we want to give you that basic grounding. But if you are able to get to another school to get that extra bit and to really, really keep going and really get there quicker, go to LEP. Obviously, keep coming to us. We can build up your character, and we can see where you're coming from. Because obviously, anyone who comes to our training camp, we hope to get them into the ring as soon as possible. and be part of our shows. But because everyone needs that ring time, and the more training, the better. LEP.
And
Definitely.
and with that in mind, LEP's the training schedule's gone through a bit of a revamp. Actually, a few things have changed lately because LEP is altering and doing more shows. So things have been changed at times. So I'm just going to run those through for you right now. Train times. You have Monday is one-to-one sessions, and you have to book those up. Tuesday is the advanced class. That's 6:30 to 8:30, and you need to be invited to that. Now, it's no longer just show up. You do need the invitation to the advanced class because there's advanced psychology and advanced maneuvers going on. Wednesday is a kids session, 6:30 until 7:30. So if you've got children and you want to get involved in wrestling, Wednesday is a day for you. And also on Wednesday, it's adults media training. That is going from 7:30 to 8:30. So if you want to help with promos, characters, that type of thing, green screen will get drawn across, I believe, and that's there for you. Thursday is a standard-sized adult session from 6:30 to 8:30, and same thing on Friday, also 6:30 to 8:30. So Thursday and Friday are for everybody, every adult, and if you impress there, that's where you'll get into the Tuesday class. Saturday, again, one-to-ones. You need to make bookings for that. And Sunday is a kids session. It's 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So that's the entire training day. I will link the LEP promotions page and CPW pages and everything in the description, so you can find all this and read it all firsthand. Now, price is it's a £30 monthly membership. There's no more one-off payments because LEP wants guys there who are committed to the training, which is fair enough. But if you do want a sort of a taster session of sorts, you can use one-to-one sessions for that. They are £20 per hour, and it is a great way to see if you want to, continue with your training. So, big changes at LEP. As Terry said, they've got a show coming up on March 26th, which I will probably be plugging a bit more next episode because need more announcements to be made yet. And yes, the LEP also announced a show on May 21st in Exeter. St. Matthew's Hall, I think that is. So yeah, that's the LEP side of things. But of course, you're the main man at CPW, so I thought rather than me plug boot camp and shows, that it would just be wrong for me to do that when you're here, Mr. Speller, because I frequent both LEP and CPW. So this is your time. Tell the people about the boot camps and shows.
Right. Our next boot camp is March 5th. That's at Penrice Academy in St Austell. It's from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. Our head trainer is John Harding. He's had 15 years experience, and he has been taught by some of the best in the country and the world. Name a few, I believe Dave Taylor, Fit Finley. I think he's been trained by Marty Jannetty. He's had sessions with Gunner, David Cash. He helped out at All Star, I think it was, and he's basically had seminars and training from people, all the names. He's our trainer. It basically gives you a foundation in the basics. Also goes over holds, throws, all of that sort of stuff. The cardio can be a bit intensive, as you probably already know. But yeah, their sessions are we've dropped the price by £5, so now £20, and that's for adults and grown-ups, adults and children. Sorry. The next show is May 14th, and that is also at Penrice Academy. Tickets are just £8. That's it. £8, children and adult, just right across the board. £8, cheapest I think around. And if you want a family ticket, that's 4 tickets. You don't have to be a family. You can just be 4 adults or 4 people who want to go. Then that's 25. There you go. It's a night out that's fun, exciting. You'll go with a smile. You'll come away from it with a smile, and it's cheap as anything. What's not to like?
No,
There you go.
I can tell you, you go to a CPW show and you will be entertained. No need for Seamus to keep asking you, are you entertained? You just will be.
Yeah, yeah, you will definitely be entertained. I mean, the amount of people who turn around and said their kids have lost their voice, even if that is the only reason you want to go, so you don't have to hear your kids the next day, that's a good enough excuse.
Yeah, exactly. And ladies and gentlemen, we have come to all the end of my planned stuff, and we've come to a good hour of show. I think it's been an hour of absolute brilliance. I'm so happy that you came on, Terry. It's been a pleasure to hear another side of the business, because I've had wrestlers and refs, but I've never had a promoter. So it's been an insight for sure.
I doubt it. I know nothing, really.
I think it's been very interesting. I've been enjoying it.
Well, thank you for having us.
Well, to close the show, I was talking about my email address, and to prove to you it works, we have George, who has been watching this live, who just wanted to who has some closing sentiments for us. It's hi from George. Hi, George. And he wants to say Terry is just the best at booking and storytelling, and he's being too modest. George.
Lies, all of it. Listen, I can honestly say that me being part of the wrestling business has just been through sheer luck, and the fact that anyone has liked me enough to, like the fans have liked me enough to keep me doing it and keep making me come back and do it. I don't understand why they have. I don't understand what I'm doing that seems to be working. I really don't. And to everyone who's ever watched any of our shows, anyone who's ever cheered for me, anyone who's ever who's come along and said, yeah, I like that MC, or anyone who seems to just get it, thank you. Honestly, I'm just a fan who made good. I'm like you, but yeah, I'm extremely humbled by anyone who's ever, by everyone and all the response I've got, and I really don't deserve it. I'm just a normal guy who's got lucky, really. So, but thanks.
Well, also thank you to everybody for watching the show today. It's been an honor to have you all here. I hope you'll join me again next week. I'll be announcing my guests in the middle of the week. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure to have you all here. Humbled that you stuck with us for the entire hour. It's been great to have you all. Keep safe. And I'm going to end on a final sentiment from George. It says, "We love Terry and CP Dub, CP Dub, CP Dub, CP Dub, CP Dub,
CP Dub." Yeah.
CP Dub. Thank you everybody for watching, and good night.